TNA Wrestling crossed that line again, and we are only 2 days away from what is going to be a historic Slammiversary, or could we rephrase, phenomenal Slammiversary. We'll talk about that crazy end to Impact, or the video package that played at the end of Impact very, very shortly. Slammiversary, of course, this Sunday, going to be a huge crowd. I think one of the biggest crowds I've ever had, maybe for Slammiversary this coming Sunday. TNA is going to be great. Now, we're going to do something slightly different on the Impact review this week. We're not going to necessarily go into match by match detail. We'll go through a couple of bits and pieces that's happened on Impact, and we'll then go into a bit more into Slammiversary, and then of course Slammiversary predictions is one of the key bits that we need to get out of the review this evening. First things first, let's talk things Tessa Blanchard. Now, again, Tessa Blanchard does have Indy Hartwell this coming Sunday at Slammiversary. Of course, you can watch that on the TNA Plus app. Get it downloaded, get subscribed. Now you can, of course, buy that as a standalone pay-per-view if you don't want to purchase the championship package or the annual package for TNA on the TNA Plus app. If you do purchase the annual package on TNA, you will, of course, get all pay-per-views as well. If you don't and you just want the normal package, you won't get the pay-per-views, but you'll get TNA Impact every single week, which is exactly what you want to do. Right. But before that, Tessa Blanchard. Now, this coming Sunday, she will take on Indy Hartwell. Now, this week on TNA, she had probably the match of the night against Danny Luna, the UK's own Danny Luna. You know, Tessa was probably never going to lose this match. Let's be honest, with someone that's got the big match coming up on Sunday. Indy did come out at the end because she carried on beating up Danny Luna at the end of the match, and she did come out at the end to save her. Now, there's a couple of bits and pieces onto this. One of the things that we're going to get to is there's issues now with Danny Luna and Jody Fret. Now, after the match, we go backstage. Indy cut a promo before that, basically saying to Tessa that at the weekend she's going to know who she is, bitch. But he did go backstage and we're tending to Danny. Danny was, said that she was fine. Jody Fret comes in, asks how she was. Danny was a bit off with her. It took her a while and it didn't come out to help her and stuff like that. So are we going towards a Spitfire showdown coming up, at a later date, maybe coming up maybe after these sets of tapings? Who knows? But Danny Luna and Jody Fret not on the best of terms right now. But the match with Tessa Blanchard was unreal. Tessa is really, showing where she is right now in terms of she's not the knockout champion, but she's kind of at the top of the tree, if you understand what I mean by that. She is tremendous. And whoever wins that match off at Slammiversary, whoever comes out knockouts and NXT champion, is going to have a huge pecking order of people trying to take a championship from them. So we really look forward to that. But things are not quite right for Spitfire this on at the moment, or the former Spitfire, shall we say. We see with Danny Luna. I really want Danny Luna to start a singles campaign. She was a tag team with Jody for a good tag team in Spitfire. But for me, Danny Luna is better when it is just Danny Luna, if you understand. And hopefully we will see that in more detail after Slammiversary this weekend. Maybe we'll see it the next day of Impact, because I believe there's a live Impact taping this week as well, which is all exciting times for TNA, which is why you need the TNA Plus app for sure. Anyway, look, now at the start of Impact this week, Moose did take on I believe it was the X Division, did defend the X Division Championship against Sami Callihan in a really short match. Again, Moose was never, excuse me, losing this match at all. He wasn't. Did call out Leon Slater, and he was saying how this Sunday is just another Sunday for Moose. The pressure is on Leon. It's his biggest match of the year. He gets to make history, and he maybe thinks that perhaps it's going to be too much for Leon to take on. Don't really know Leon well if you think that, but that's what Moose thinks. And this Sunday's just going to be another Sunday in the park for Moose. I don't think that is the case, but. He then turned around and called Sammy Callahan a fat piece of garbage. And he did say that he has a great mind for the business, but it's leave the boots in the ring and get your fat ass out of his ring. And he does untie his laces as well. Sammy Callahan. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with the death machine now with Sammy Callahan. Is he conflicted? Does he feel as though it could be time to give it up? I hope not. Sammy Callahan is tremendous, and I hope that Sammy Callahan doesn't give up just yet. Anyway, but I think they could have just made this a non-title, and that's where I think defending your championship 2, 3 days before the biggest show of the year that you're defending your championship could have just been a non-title match. Could have been a tune-up match really for Moose. I don't think it needed to be the world champion, like having the X Division championship, excuse me, on the line. But the retirement tease from Sammy Callahan is interesting. I'd like to see where that goes. If that continues, what happens there, we shall see. But the system were introduced by Moose, and they were going to have a match with the Order 4. Now, Order 4 has been, well, in disarray. Although, if you watch my interview with Mustafa Ali, if you go down on the playlist to go special guests, go right to the bottom. Uh, you will see, excuse me, the interview with Mustafa Ali, and he said everything was fine in Order 4. Sometimes families fall out. We're back. We're stronger than ever. And we could have had an opportunity to find that out. However, Dark State, on the other hand, because they were taking on the system as well, and Dark State decided to make its presence felt in this ring, and they took out Brian Myers as well. Sorry, the system come out on NXT this week to even the odds. So Dark State come back to Impact. They took out Brian Myers on the inside of the ring, and to be honest, Mustafa Ali and the rest of all the four didn't really care. They had a big smile on their face on the outside of the ring, so perhaps all the four was in a little bit of cahoots with this Dark State. However, this coming Sunday, it's the System and Matt Cardona versus Dark State. So they will have a bit more on that in a minute as well, which I'm really looking forward to be honest with you. Um, on Impact, I'm really looking forward to that. Sorry, at Slammiversary, it was a really high octane Impact this week. Lots of stuff with the Inspiration and the Elegance brand as well. There's a couple of promos in there, but we'll get to that. But the Elegance one was interrupted by Fatal Influence, and obviously JC Jane has a bit of a huge, we'll say big. She has a huge match this coming Sunday. At Slammiversary Masha Slamovich. And this Impact was definitely full of a lot of promo skits like you would normally have on a go home show. That was one thing I would say. That's one note I did make about it. But the hometown man was in action this week, Cody Deaner, against Judas Icarius. And that was a decent match, actually. The hometown match won springboard inverted DDT. Eric Young tried to get involved. They tried to, hometown man left through the crowd. Eric Young tried to get through the crowd to get to him, and the crowd wouldn't let him. I think that's hilarious. I thought that was a brilliant piece of luck, a brilliant piece of writing there with that one. I enjoyed that, and it was a really fun match as well. Eric Young is adamant about the hometown fan. It's a bit like it's about the hometown fan being Cody Deaner. It's a bit like when Kevin Owens thought Elias was Elijah. I can't remember. There would be Elijah. Elias has brothers in the WWE, and that was quite funny as well. So I enjoyed that. Um, But the fans are all over the hometown man. They love him. And whether it's Cody Deaner or not, I said it is. I agree with Eric Young, but it's still hilarious to see. Now, one thing that did happen this week on Impact, which has huge consequences. Now, Steve Macklin did announce an open challenge for the International Championship, but I don't know if plans have changed or whether that's still going ahead, and I'll go into why. We got another fourth rope promo this week from Enzo Amore, the real one. Done a good job of burying AEW in that one, that's for sure. But he did say that he was coming to Slammiversary and he wasn't coming alone. He is bringing John Bishop with him. That's a comedian in the UK, actually. But he is also bringing Zilla Fatu, the son of Umaga, I think the champion in RQ, Real Q Quality Wrestling, RQW Booker T's promotion. That is going to be impressive to see. Now, the reason I was wondering if the International Championship would still be on the line is because those three are in action against the Freedmen who were in the triple threat match last week for Macklin's International Championship. Steve Macklin, Mence Warner, the crazy mofo that is Mence Warner. I can't wait to see him in action, and Jake something. So that's the triple threat match that's going to be on the preliminaries, as is the Inspiration against the Elegance brand. So I don't know whether Macklin's match is going to go because he was going to say he opens an open challenge, and I thought that the open challenge was going to be answered by one of those three men, probably Zilla or Real One. But clearly not. Well, clearly that whether that match happens or not, we don't know. We can't predict that match because it isn't a match that's currently on the card now. So I'm not sure if things have changed, what's going on. Maybe he still will do an open challenge and we'll go into who that could be very, very shortly. It's going to be very exciting. Now, Matt Cardona did have a match. So how the Dark State and the System got together was Matt Cardona had a match with Jake Painter. And Matt Cardona was painting a picture of Jake Painter. That's bad, isn't it? Jesus. Anyway, Dark State made their presence felt again, as did the System, and Brian Myers and Matt Cardona will indeed be tagging up with the System against Dark State at Slammiversary, which will be fantastic to see. Now, one of the huge things that's come out of Impact this week was the promo from the Hardys. The Hardys have kind of indicated here that perhaps they should be retiring or will retire if they don't win the tag match against, well, there's four men. There's the Nemeth brothers, there's First Class, and there's the Rascals in a four-way ladder match. So they've indicated that, they were, should they look to retire, they're top of their game. So big one here. Leon Slater did try and come out and, I suppose G them up a little bit, getting their heads in the game, so to speak. Which got First Class to interrupt. And Matt said to Slater, leave the ring a minute, because it's not his fight. And the Hardys, and Francis said the Hardys ain't even the best brother tag team in TNA as the Nemeths arrived. And they all started, the Rascals are in there, ladders got brought out, it went crazy and all over the place. But, the Hardy promo there, we're not sure if this is going to mean if the Hardys lose, they're done or not, or what's going to happen at Slammiversary. But there's a lot of question marks leading into this for the Hardys. Will they win? They are the masters of the ladder match after all, but who knows? The Nemeth brothers are just as good. I don't think it's going to be the Rascals because we know that Trey Miguel's going for surgery at the end of this one. He's seeing Slammiversary through, then getting surgery. So we'll see. And First Class, who knows? AJ Francis, Casey, Navarro, they certainly have that opportunity. And they've been so good on TNA over the last year or so, to be quite honest with you. I'll be looking forward to that. I really, really will be looking forward to it. The main event this week was Trick Williams and Frankie Kazarian versus Joe Hendry, Mike Santana. Joe Hendry, Mike Santana stand tall at the end of this spin the block from Santana onto Kaz. You knew, to be honest with you, you knew that Kaz was going to take the pin on this. It was to me, it kind of felt a little bit not obvious, but like you're not going to have your main champion eat a pin before the biggest show of the year for TNA. You know, it's just not going to happen. Santana getting a win does he lead in to be favorite of this match now? Would you put Mike Santana in? It's a difficult one to predict. That's and I've got to try and predict it in the next couple of minutes. So I'm still going to struggle to do that. But Santana, definitely the favorite leading into this, picking up the pinfall victory. It was a fun impact. It was segment heavy as you would imagine it to be, to hit that final hype for Slammiversary. But if you're going to watch any match this week, Tessa Blanchard, Danny Luna was fantastic and is in ring as you're going to get. Enzo always promo. You know what you're going to get with Enzo Amore and his promos. And his little dig at Tony Khan was rather funny, but you know what, it doesn't really make a difference considering how good that pay-per-view was. Um, However, the show didn't end there, and this is why you should always watch wrestling, no matter what brand it is, until it goes off the air. Not just off the air with the credits. Off the air isn't onto another program. They played a promo at the end of TNA, and it has now been confirmed. Returning to TNA Wrestling this Sunday, the phenomenal AJ Styles. It has been waiting. Oh, a little bit of goosebumps there as I announced that myself. Maybe I should get a job with TNA announcing. AJ Styles returns to TNA. You're talking. This is the biggest show. This is huge. This is going to be going down in the history books for TNA, and having AJ Styles on TNA this weekend. It's going to be. It's like I quoted it on X. It's like Michael Jordan returning to the Chicago Bulls. That's the level of. That's the level really. Of where we're at with AJ Styles coming back, and I cannot wait to see what he has in store. What capacity, we don't know. We don't really know a lot, to be quite honest. All we know is the phenomenal one will be back in a TNA ring this coming Sunday, and I cannot wait for it to happen because it's been so long. It's always been rumored that it might happen, but it is now, and that's all that matters to me. And all the fans are going to be going crazy. Will he have his old music? There's a lot of people saying we want to hear, Get Ready to Fly. We know he hates it. So I don't know whether he will or whether WWE have been kind of like, no, we can't have it. Whether he wants it. Because we know AJ Styles he doesn't like his music, his old TNA music. He's been quite vocal about it. So I don't know. But whatever happens is when that man comes out on Sunday, the place will go crazy. Now, enough of that. Let's get into predictions of Slammiversary 2025. I'm going to do it in a different order this week. I'm going to take it from Wikipedia. I'm going to do the first two as you would normally see it on the matches because they're the preliminary matches. And then I'm going to go from bottom to the top. So, barring the first two. Right. So, the first one, Macklin, Jake Summing, Commence Warner, Zillifar 2, Real 1, and Josh Bishop. Sorry, not John Bishop. Apologies. Josh. I watched TNA early this morning, okay? And I didn't know what Bishop they were talking about. It could have been Bishop Dyer. I thought it was going to be Big Trouble Ben Bishop. All right. Josh. Anyway, TNA are going to win that one. The triple threat, the six-man tag. Macklin will probably end up getting a pin in that one. Maybe pin John Bishop in that one. But yeah, for me, TNA win that particular match. But will they win will all the championships be in TNA after Slammiversary? And that's a question that we need to answer. Elegance brand versus the Inspiration. It's a real tricky one Being on the pre-show, does it mean the title will change? No. Do I think it's too early in the run of the Elegance brand for those titles to change? Yes. But I do love the inspiration. I'm going to go with the Elegance brand purely because I think it's too early for their titles to change. I think they haven't had enough defenses. It's not been long enough. But the Knockouts Tag Champions do change quite a bit. But for me, they need to build that up. And the only way to build it up is to keep it on your champions. So for me, Elegance brand retain. Sorry, Cassie Lee. Sorry, Jessica McKay. I just feel as if it's the wrong time. Right team, wrong time. There you go. That's what I would say with that. Now we go from bottom to top. And the first match I've got to predict is the winner take all match between NXT and TNA. This is for the Knockouts Championship and the TNA Women's, sorry, TNA, the NXT Women's Championship. It's Masha Slamovich. She's going to be with Lei Ying Lee and Zaya Brookside against Fatal Influence. And that's going to be obviously JC Jane, the champion, with Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix. NXT are going to win that. There you go. Yeah. Sorry, because I had to think of the main event as well. NXT are going to win that. JC Jane will win that. She will be knockouts tagged. She will be knockouts champion and NXT champion. That come when it goes off the air. Pretty much. There you go. NXT win that match. Sure, they should do a joint pay-per-view. Next one on the list is the Dark State versus the System and Matt Cardona. I'm going with the System and Matt Cardona on this. Dark State, I don't know. I'm not sold on them yet on NXT. I haven't quite been right fully behind them, fully sort of, full throttle with them, so to speak. And I think the System need to win this one. And it's going to be great to see Matt and Brian together again on the same team, at least for now. So for me, the System winning. Well, it's quite a weird one. It's a quite a weird dynamic because the System are technically heels. In this match, they're going to be faces, and there's kind of leader of the System, so to speak, or there is no leaders in the System, but Moose, who you would put front and center, is a heel. So interesting there, but for me, System pick up the victory in that. Mustafa Ali, Cedric Alexander in a match, to be honest with you, it's worth admission fee alone. Going to be a fantastic match, that one. I can't wait personally to see it. 205 live. They had some great one. Mustafa Ali never beaten Cedric Alexander either. I think he will this time. I predict Mustafa Ali will get the victory over Cedric. I know Cedric's only just come into TNA, but I feel as if it's long overdue a win for Mustafa Ali. But it's going to be a hell of a contest, one that you really want to see. That's for sure. Slammiversary, it will blow. It will be probably one of the matches. Well, according to Mustafa Ali, he's going there to be match of the night. According to what he said on my podcast interview with him, which you can see below, he's going to be match of the night. So we'll see. Indy Hartwell, Tessa Black. This is a tough one to call, because Tessa has been great. Indy's own, this is kind of Indy's first feud. She's been around a little bit. She's not won every match. She's lost a few. I, ju- I just see that Indy Hartwell, my prediction for Indy is that Bound for Glory, I think that's in October, 3 months away. She will become Knockouts champion and maybe even NXT champion again. Who knows what's going to happen there? So I think this is the start of Indy Hartwell's descent to Bound for Glory, to winning the Knockouts championship, and I think she beats Tessa Blanchard here. Tessa is phenomenal. She really, really is. This match, her match with Danny Luna was fantastic on Impact. Her match with Indy is going to be really, really good. There's a lot of animosity there as well. But I just feel like Indy Hartwell's time is now to start that descent towards the Knockouts Championship. So she wins that match for me, Indy Hartwell. The four-way ladder match is going to be absolute chaos. Nemeth's, the Hardys, the Rascals, and First Class. I'm going to stick my neck out and say the Hardys. I'm not quite sure what happens because of that promo, whether they're done if they lose. I don't know. But the Hardys, for me, win this. I love it. I think they're great. They have to win it for me. They're on a great run. The ladder match just suits them. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be chaos. Mustafa Ali doesn't think it's going to be that great because he's going to be match of the night. But yeah, that for me is going to be the Hardys. I can see them winning that match and regaining the TNA Tag Team Championships. Second to last match now. Leon Slater versus Moose. You don't even need to ask me where I'm going with that one. I've been saying it for so long. Leon Slater becomes X Division champion in 2025, and on Sunday it happens. He does indeed. In my opinion, that's exactly what's going to happen this coming Sunday at Slammiversary. Leon is going to fulfill his dream. He's going to become the youngest ever X Division champion. It's going to be a great match. And as Mustafa Ali said on the interview, you think Moose is a one-trick pony. He's far from it. So it's going to be a tough, tough match. But Leon, for me, his time is now, and it's time for him to win the X Division championship. Now, the main event at Slammiversary is that triple threat match. It is Trick Williams, it is Joe Hendry, it is Mike Santana for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, an NXT LAN holding, sorry, an NXT guy holding TNA Gold, but not for much longer, for my opinion. I think Mike Santana wins the gold at Slammiversary on Sunday. I really do. I think it's his time. I think, to be honest, Santana has deserved it. Joe Hendry's had that time. He's had his moment. He's going to be over as anything, regardless of what happens here. But for me, when you look at someone that's come in from AEW just over a year or two ago, set the pace in TNA. He's been the blue chipper for me. I've said that all along since he's got there. He's been the blue chip, and he will win the TNA heavyweight TNA. Yes, the TNA, jeez, the TNA Heavyweight Championship on Sunday. He will indeed win that championship, and it'll be 1-1. NXT will have the Knockouts Championship. TNA will regain the World Heavyweight Championship through Mike Santana. But the only way you can, of course, see TNA's action is the TNA Plus app. Get it downloaded, get it subscribed. If you want all the pay-per-views plus all of the retro TNA stuff, get the annual package, the championship package, and you'll receive everything. If you just want to pre-order Slammiversary, you can watch that as a standalone pay-per-view and then just pay your normal monthly sum for every Impact that comes on TV. And you're missing out if you're not downloading it and subscribing it. There's going to be a live Impact this week as well, I believe. Can't wait for that. That's going to be as a fallout from Slammiversary. Well, the historic Slammiversary, shall we say. Can't wait for it. Make sure you watch it. Coming up on the channel, though, this week in wrestling, we'll talk more about Slammiversary with myself and David. Interviews coming up. And we'll also be back on Monday with the historic Slammiversary review with the return of AJ Styles to TNA Wrestling. But until then, everybody, this has been Adam Cousins on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Cross the line and stay safe.